If you believe that the costs outweigh the benefits, like it was not a good thing to work in the Japanese silk factories, especially if you're a woman, because remember from one of our documents, 92% of the people who worked in there were women, then you would say, I believe the costs outweigh the benefits. And then why? Why do you think the costs outweigh the benefits? If on the other hand, you feel like, no, like, yes, there were some costs. So, Demi, when we were in our live meet yesterday that you did not make it to, I told you guys to use the document in the course arc because for whatever reason I'm having issues with some of my stuff not opening up. It's also on the video in for this week's agenda on Wednesday. There's a link up at the very top that says live meet video that you can click on. Okay. So if you, okay, Anaya, if you think that the benefits, like, yes, there were some costs, but the benefits were more so, then you need to say, no, I don't believe that the costs outweighed the benefits. And then like give your reason why. That's your thesis statement. Okay. You're making a statement. You're telling us basically what are you going to be arguing for or against in your essay. So your essay should be a minimum of 3 to 5 paragraphs. You need your introductory paragraph. You need your conclusion paragraph. In the body portion of it, if you think you can do one paragraph utilizing 3 of the documents to make your argument, meaning you are definitely going to be needing a body paragraph of at least 9 sentences, then you can do a 3-paragraph essay. If you need to be able to do a paragraph for each one of your documents as your evidence, then you would need a 5-paragraph essay. I am leaving that up to you because you at this point are learning your writing styles and what works best for you. I'm not an English teacher, so I am not going to be asking for word counts, etc. That's just not my strength on there. So I'm going to leave that for you. So how about like 2 more minutes for you guys to get your thesis statement? And then we're going to start looking at the documents in here, and we're going to decide which documents work for which argument. Okay. Any questions on what we're doing right now? Okay, Gabriel says, okay. My king. We did this yesterday. I actually had you guys open this in class, which being in class, you need to pay attention and you need to come to our live meets. The journal is in the course arc. Yes. Yes, Anaya?
I'm going to be idle for a little bit because I couldn't open my document on my school computer, so I opened it on my phone, which has my personal. So if I'm idle, is that okay?
Yeah, just if I call for you, just make sure you're listening for me.
Okay.
All right. All right, so how about give me the clapping hands if you have your thesis statement completed? Savannah, were you raising your hand or? Oh, no, you meant to do, okay. Savannah's clapping her hands. I see 1. I see Anaya 2. Anaya 3. I'm only seeing 3 clapping hands for students saying that they've completed their thesis statement. So the rest of you have not yet?
No, I'm still working on it.
Okay. You're almost done, Sabrina? Okay. Eric, how is yours? Because right now I'm only looking at 1 student having their their actual DBQ put in, which is Diana. Okay, Diana, where's your essay? This is not an essay. I'm going to send this back to you. Yes?
Miss Mather, it says that I need, like, it says access denied. It says access denied to the file.
Well, Lisa, did you open the journal in the course arc like I explained yesterday? That's
No.
the one that we literally worked on during class yesterday. So you were in class yesterday. What were you doing when we were filling in our journal? See, when I get all these questions for students who say they were in class and we do all of this work in class, and then you ask me these things, to me, that tells me you logged in and you guys walked away. Not good. Diana, I reassign the journal back to you. Do you see it? Okay. Open that back up. You need your one sentence right here for the final argument. This is where you put your thesis statement, but underneath here is where you are going to write me a 3 to 5 paragraph essay, not a 3 to 5 sentence paragraph. We're going to give it just another moment. Okay. All right. Are we ready to start deciding which documents go with which argument? Okay. All right. So let's look at document A. Okay. So this one is showing them, the women working on it. And this one is showing, the number of people, like both by age and gender. And then the note under here says 25 million people gainfully employed in Japan. About 1% of these Japanese workers worked in textile mills. So about 1 million people worked in the textile mills. So what could we possibly use document A for? Which argument do we think document A would work for? Can you guys give me what you think? And we could be either looking at the photograph in here, or we can be looking at the chart right here. But which argument, benefit or cost? Which argument do you think document A would work probably better for? Benefits? Okay, yeah. I mean, if we're going to go with what we saw when we were discussing this and we were breaking down the document, we could probably say that definitely it was a benefit for women, right? Definitely we're going to be talking about women, just because if we're looking here, we're seeing like 92% of the 1 million people working, right? We're women, plus the visual is women. How could we use this as a benefit? How could we use document A as a rationale for it being a benefit? Can somebody tell me? Sure, Ryan, go ahead.
Okay. Document A is talking about the benefits of the female workplace
Okay,
because of the conditions and everything.
okay, but that's not how you write an essay or answer a question, is it? Would your English teacher be okay with that?
No.
Okay, so why would I be okay with that? Okay, Shakina, is that enough? How can we use document A? Could we say, as seen in the photograph in document A, the factories were bright, the workers were clean. What else could we say? How can this, like, say that this is a benefit? Jameson, were you starting to say something, hon? Come on, guys, let's beef this up a little. Okay, so we could say, as seen in the photograph in document A, the workers had space. Okay, so we could say that working in factories, according to document A, the photographs looked like the conditions were clean, they were bright, they had space. Right? We could use all of those to describe what we're seeing in the picture. We could say the silk factories employed roughly 1 million people, where over 900,000 of them are women, which allowed women to financially contribute because they have a job. Can we use any of those, right? Okay, let's go to document B. All right, so we're looking at document B. And now document B is talking about the hours that they worked and the fact that they got, what, 40 minutes of breaks. So would we use document B for benefit or for cost? Okay, how could we use that as a benefit, Shakina? Why would document B be a benefit? Okay, so I don't understand what you mean by, I understand the cost part, but females back in the 1900s were doing most of the home cleaning. Ryan, remember, they weren't living at home. Remember, they lived where their mills were. That's okay. I mean, I get what you're saying with cost, but what could we say about what we're reading here so that it would be a rationale for the costs? Come on, guys. I mean, you're on the right track, Ryan. Can somebody else give us? Okay, so Shakina, you're saying this would be a benefit because the workers have breakfast, lunch, and a break time. So, okay, how you've got to expand on that, right? So why is that a benefit? You've got to take it a step further. Ryan, did you figure out how to use that as a cost? Well, it's not going to cost them silk. It's going to cost them what? I'm not saying it's okay. The question you guys are answering was, did the costs outweigh the benefits? Okay. If we're saying this is a negative, that's what a cost is on here. The costs are the negatives. The benefits are the positives. So the costs, I don't understand what you mean by energy. Do you guys work 13 to 14 hours of hard labor? Or not even just hard labor, but continuously working 13 to 14 hours? Okay. So I want you to think about 13 to 14 hours of work. So you get up in the morning, according to this, and you work for an hour and a half. Then you get 15 minutes to eat your breakfast. Then you go back, and for another a little over 4 hours, you work again. And then you get a 15-minute lunch. And then you go back and you work for about 5.5 hours, and then you get a 10-minute break. And then you go back and you work for another almost 4 hours during normal business, like normal times, right? When it was very busy, they would have their break, go back to work at 3:40, and would be kept busy until 10 o'clock. So that's almost 6.5 hours. So very long days with very short breaks Is that a negative or a positive? It would be a cost, right? It would be a negative. So we could use document B as there's, when you have to work those hours, very long days with very few breaks, and then you read the note here, guys, look what this says. A textile worker averaged 1 day off every 2 weeks. So out of 14 days, they got 1 day off of there and they worked the other 13. So they didn't have weekends off. They didn't have days off like that. So that's a lot of work, isn't it? So we could use document B to talk about the very long hours that the textile workers averaged, with days off being very few and far between, their breaks being extremely short. Okay, let's go to document C. All right, so we're talking about like how much people made, right? So we're looking at the silk factory workers, right? If you look at this and then you looked at some of these things, it says, obviously, the majority of them were females. We know that from document A, right? 92% of them were females. And a day, remember that really long day? They made 13 cents. Now, I want you to look at this. A pair of ladies' indoor sandals cost 7 cents. It actually costs more than half of their daily wages for a pair of shoes. A pound of sugar cost 15 cents. It was literally over a day's worth of work for them to get sugar. A bunch of radishes cost 7 cents. They use radishes in a lot of their cooking. Over half of a day's labor. And when you look at how much it was comparatively, they didn't really make a whole heck of a lot, right? So, would we use this as a positive or a negative? A negative, right? The cost, especially for women. So really, really long hours as reported in document B, for very, very low pay as reported in document C. Exactly. And then Shakina, exactly. We would also say that female workers on average were paid half to a third of what their male counterparts were paid, right? All right, so let's look at document D. So now we're looking at the first government report. They were talking about, in the actual reading portion of it, that these were younger women that were working before they got married. And so because they were younger, when you're younger, you have more energy. You don't need as much sleep. You could do so many more things than when you're older, which is kind of basically the idea behind this report. Okay. And then we're looking at the reasons why they left. Well, obviously we have illness, right? Like we have illness, 24%. Release from employment is 15%. And that could be for any whatever reason they got sick. We don't know exactly what that means. Family reasons. So this is like, why did they leave? So this right here would be a con, right? It would be a negative for why they were leaving. But this right here, you could use as that they could benefit from working when they were younger to help their families, etc., before getting married and settling down, I guess you would say. So for document D, you could actually use the government report, the written report could maybe be used as a benefit or as a cost. You could see either one. I think he was trying to make it more of a benefit. And then you could use the chart as more of a cost, right? So document D, you could use it for both arguments. You just have to explain what you are using it and how it supports your arguments. Okay. So we've looked at one benefit. We've looked at what? 2 negatives, 2 costs. Our fourth document could be either or. So at this point, we might have 3 for the costs outweighing the benefits. We have not quite found 3 where the benefits outweigh the costs yet. So let's look at document E. All right, so this is the contract for employment. When we're talking about a long-term contract, the parents of the hired daughter often received a large cash advance called earnest money. So this could be a benefit for the family, right? These young girls working in the silk factories was a way of providing for their families. Does that make sense? Okay, so we could probably then make an argument for document E being on the side of the benefit, on the positive, and how this contract for employment with the girls' parents, the girls going to work in the factories, was a benefit for their families and it provided for their families. Okay. Any questions on document E? Okay, let's look at document F. So this is a silk worker survey. Looking at all of these, right? Good. Inspection, not good. Overall, positive. So could we use document F as a benefit? So we could say in the survey of women in document F, 580 women reported overwhelmingly that their experience working in the silk factories was positive overall. We see this with a 90% positive rating in this chart. Yes, no, we're not sure. I need some feedback from you guys. Okay. All right. Because, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm talking to a wall when you guys don't respond back to me. Okay, so document F goes in the benefit column. Let's go to document G. All right, so for document G, it says when I left home. Okay, so this is a song by a silk worker. Many silk factory girls knew their wages were an important help to their family, but they longed for home. The following are words from a song probably written in the nighttime hours by such a girl. So basically, she's talking about what? Yes, I know this is helping my family, but I'm homesick. So we could use it as both, couldn't we? Couldn't this be a positive and a negative? I mean, yes, we know it's helping my family, but then we could use it as a negative when they talk about this cruel factory. When the season of painful reeling is over, so it's sounding like it's not very safe. Or I was sold to this factory. Well, I think you could use this as either a cost or a benefit. It's a little bit harder to use as a benefit, although you could say that from the parents signing the contract that it's helping poor families, that they know it's a year for the contract. We could also use it as a negative when she talks about cruel factory, painful reeling from 4 p.m., 4 a.m. Like that's all the time they get away from it. Or the homesickness. Either way, though, in your essay, you have to choose a side. There's no wishy-washy. You either say the costs outweighed the benefits, and you're going to use the documents that we felt were more negative, right? That were on the side of the costs. Or you are going to say the benefits outweighed the costs, and then you're going to use at least 3 of the documents that highlighted the benefits. That is how you use the DBQs. That's why they're called document-based questions. We answered questions about the documents themselves, so now you can look back at your page and some of the stuff that we pulled out. Could you also use the background essay? Absolutely, you could use the background essay as well. But while you are writing your essay, you need to make sure that you reference the documents that you are talking about. As we saw in the background essay, blah, blah, blah. As we saw in document G, blah, 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 being what you are writing, not copying and pasting an entire paragraph with quotation marks around it, because that's not a paragraph. So any questions on how to use these documents? Yes, Ryan, you can say, or document A or D, or whichever documents you are using states, but I don't want to see a big old paragraph. that is a direct copy and paste out of the document, because then you've not written anything. So hopefully you guys are understanding this. Copying and pasting it directly out of a document is not writing. That's actually plagiarizing. And if you give me an entire paragraph and all it is a copy and paste with quotation marks, you've still not written anything. So you actually have to write, and then you are using these documents to back up what you are saying. Oh, Ryan, I've had students who've done that. Okay. And by copying and pasting, Ryan, if you put in quotation marks and you type exactly what you see on the page, that's still cheating. That's still plagiarizing because it's not your own words. I'm saying copying and pasting because I feel like that's the only way kids understand what I'm saying. Yes, Adriel?
Wait, so no copy and pasting things text from the.
You may not use the text from the documents as your entire paragraph.
What?
Adriel, it's your own words. Typing word for word what you're seeing in the documents and trying to tell me that that is your entirety of your argument is plagiarizing. That is what I am saying. You have to use your own words. And then you can use information from the documents to help you, but that cannot be the only thing that is in your paragraphs. That is what I'm talking about. Okay? All right, everybody. So I know it's 10:45. We're about 8 minutes early. So if you have your 30 minutes in, you are welcome to head off and go complete your essay. Remember, this is due. As a reminder, your Life of a T-shirt project closes tomorrow, and your Module 7 quiz closes on the 28th. Tomorrow is small group meets in the morning, and then you have a middle school town hall meeting at 10:30. And that's it. That's everything I have. You'll get a text and announcement tomorrow as well. You too. Bye, everybody. Yes, Adriel?
So pretty much just like write like a 3 to 5 sentence about the cost or
Each paragraph?
paragraph.
Yes. Adriel, you're writing a 3 to 5 paragraph essay.